Then after you finish your high school in Mauritius, where did you go?
For me, it was logical that now that I finished my Cambridge High School certificate at Royal College, Port Louis, I would want to do mechanical engineering at the University of Manchester. The application process to get admitted was the easy part. Most difficult to solve is the money aspects, because my dad, with what he has, just a shop, and also the currency difference between the Mauritian rupee and the British pound, there was just no way that he could afford to finance me for a 3-year education. But he did what he had to do. He begged, steal and borrow, and in the end, he managed to find enough funds to allow me to go to university for the first year. One fine day in September 1969, I took a flight.
So that's the first time you left Mauritius Island. How do you feel?
Definitely. For all these years, I was an island boy. I have never left Mauritius. There was no reason. And going to university would be the first logical reason for me to hop on a plane. Everything was new to me, from a third world country, which is Mauritius then, to a first world country where I was expected to be studying.
So is this intuition for only enough for first year? How did you manage it for the rest of the years?
No, for the second year, I was very lucky because I got a scholarship from the university. So that diminishes the pressure, the financial pressure. And for the third year, I did work during the summer vacations and I earned enough money.
You're lucky. So
if you don't take any action, then nothing's going to happen. You have to be master of your own destiny.
It's true.
Yes.
So your undergraduate is 4 years?
No, I did an honors program in 3 years.
Okay, so then after you finish your undergraduate, you continue with the master degree, still engineering focus?
Definitely. I wanted to carry on. I got a couple of choices. I could have done a master's in biomedical engineering, which I would have loved to, but I ended up doing a master's at the City University in London. So I say that to do a master's after an undergrad is the logical sequence of things. And when I was about to finish my master's, I saw that there was an opening at the University of Mauritius for lecturer. Of course, I applied for it. To make a long story short again, I sailed through the interview process and I was appointed as a lecturer in mechanical engineering. I was really excited because the university was still very young and gave me an opportunity to help develop the curriculum. At university, I got interested in the applications of solar energy. I want to mention solar energy in particular because after lecturing for a couple of years, the head of the School of Industrial Technology appointed me as the representative of Mauritius at the Solar Energy Conference by a UN body. So I spent like a week in Nairobi, Kenya in September 1978, and I spent another week in Varese, Italy on aspects of solar energy. To carry on with solar energy application at the University of Mauritius, and I was getting to get itchy feet. I felt like it's time for me to move again. I felt that I was a big fish in a small pond. I need to have more freedom. So I applied, of course, to come to Canada. It so happened that I got admitted to Canada as a landed immigrant status, but I had to be here by a certain date, by August of '79. So I had to reject that appointment. I guess that in life, there are times when there are too many good things happening at the same time. In my case, I could only accept one of them.
So
thus begin a new chapter of my professional life in Canada.
So why did you choose to come to Canada, not stay in UK or stay in Mauritius, University of Mauritius?
I am glad that you asked me that question. I really don't want to stay at the University of Mauritius. I thought that the place was too small. There's not that many opportunities for the engineer to exercise his profession. I could have stayed. I have choice. At that time, I had a permanent residence in UK. I could have gone back to UK, but I refused to accept the easy path because I already know what life was
in UK.
That's why I decided to try to come to Canada.
But don't you feel at that time UK is better than Canada?
I would say that I made the right choice. North America is far better than UK. For one thing, the place is crowded. 50 million people in a landmass maybe smaller than Ontario. You could now imagine that if you were to live there, you would be rubbing shoulders with your neighbors, so to speak. So Canada, to me, is the best. After all, we're supposed to be a nation of generous people. There's not too much of racism. I think that is a very important factor.
Compared to UK?
There is racism in UK. There is a lot of racism down south. Let's just
How did you start your life in Canada?
say a couple of things now. Kind of a forward. I'm very happy that I got my degree in UK. What it means is that when I came here, university degree was accepted right away. You're not like some international professionals who have a degree elsewhere and they have to wait for a couple of years. So when I came here, I was ready to work. The other point which I want to make is that I have been a plus to the society. What I meant by that is the Canadian government didn't spend any money on my education. So when I came, I was ready to produce, to be a productive member of society.
But at that time, it's easy to find a job for engineering?
Oh, yes. So I came in August 79. After 2 weeks, I went to look for a job. I was really surprised. At the first place I knocked, I got hired. So for the next 2 years, I was working for Stone & Webster Canada Limited, essentially on American nuclear power projects. For me, the experience was easy to get a job. Maybe at that time, it's a matter of supply and demand. The job opening at Stone & Webster Canada Limited led me to be hired by Atomic Energy of Canada Limited. So I was working at AECL for the next 2 years. They're the premier company who are responsible for the design of Canadian nuclear power plants. So they are the design authority for Bruce Pickering Darlington.
So your engineer is more focused on the nuclear side at that time?
Definitely.
But did you learn on sonar?
Now, if you go back, you'd notice that a lot of the focus when I was at the University of Mauritius was my interest, my work on solar energy. So it got to do with energy. But here, it so happened that in Canada, and exclusively, I did work on energy, but related to nuclear power. I guess that I was at the right time, at the right place. Sometimes there is element of luck which goes into which company you're going to end up with. Everything was going well for me until one day in '83, I thought that for me, the sky fell. The company just announced that they were going to lay off about 600 engineers, and I'm one of them.
Never expected that.
Of course, I didn't expect that because I thought that things were just going great for me. I learned a new term with new meaning, and that term is called LIFO, last in, first out. That was the first time being laid off. I thought that if you happen to be a clerk or whatnot, you get laid off, but not an engineer. How wrong was I?
How do you deal with the pressure?
When you lose your job, it's a big stressor, like losing a loved one, like losing a house. When you lose your job, it means that you lost your identity. You really have to do something because nobody's going to help you if you don't help yourself. I started doubting. I don't know why I doubted, but I did doubt. I see, is engineering the right career for me? So there was a lot of questions, but really from my own perspective, I don't have a clear answer. As to what you want to do, you have to take into account all the factors and sometimes go with your gut and say, hey, that is the choice I'm going to make. And down the road, it's either 0 or 1. It's either it's the right choice, which is good, or if it's wrong, I'm sorry, in life, sometimes we gamble. Well, how I did solve that problem about layoff at ACL. One fine day, I got a call from an engineering temporary agency. They tell me that there's a job for you. They need somebody temporary for 2 weeks' work. So I look at it, I say, what do I have to lose? So I accepted the job gladly. I'm so happy that this is what I did. So the 2 weeks became 2 months, it became 3.5 years, by which time the Darlington project, for which I was very much involved, came to an end. I did manage to have 3.5 years of professional work experience at Ontario Hydro. That's not bad at all. What do? I decided to just go home for a holiday. Interesting thing happened. I met a couple of friends when I was working at Ontario Hydro. Whilst I was away, he saw an ad for engineers at my old company at ACL. So, being so kind-hearted, I didn't expect that. He applied on my behalf. I followed up. Again, to make a long story short, I'm now back. I'm hired at my old job.
The same company
and I
which laid
stayed
off
there
you.
for the next 25 years. Yes. So really, I'm amazed that sometimes you must have a kindred person at the right time, at the right spot. I think a lot of us would just, see something. I'm all right, Jack. Not my problem. They'll just close their arm. But I was lucky to meet such good person. I want to share with you about work at ACL, to do the same work, similar work 2 or 3 times. Because I found out soon that if you do the same work 2 or 3 times, they will ask you to do the same work. You become a subject matter expert. I refuse to be slaughtered, to be just doing one kind of work or analysis for the rest of your life. That will be so boring. On purpose, I chose to find work in other branches, in other sections, in other departments. So you may say that I'm a rolling stone. I'm happy to be a rolling stone because then I think in the end I got a great picture of the sense of where it was going. I was really proud that when I was at ACL, I represented my company at this OECD conference, EU body, in their nuclear energy agency. 1 week in Helsinki. That's really amazing to be going at a place. That's a place of the midnight sun, where the sun is still shining at 10, 11 in the evening. A new experience for me. During the course of my work at ACL, I got to travel as part of work to UK. And I've seen more than 25 states in the States. Again, I think that gave me a kind of a much bigger picture of work, lifestyle. It's a more comprehensive as opposed to an insular look. I was really blessed to be working in a unique industry. Do you know that in Ontario, in 2021, 58% of our energy needs comes from nuclear. So you could see how important is nuclear, because the continued success of the province, of its development, depends on the availability of a reliable, free, and fairly cheap source of energy. I really wanted to say that. In terms of lessons learned, I learned that I know that a lot of you are very complacent, are very happy in their jobs. That's great. The lessons is, don't be too complacent. You never know what's lurking around in the corner. And to note that what is working today may not be working tomorrow. Maybe today you're a very senior position in a company ABC. But who knows, maybe they have restructuring which you're not aware of. Maybe your company is being bought out by other companies in the States. There's so many things which are beyond your control. I think it's important, it's incumbent that one is prepared so that if the inevitable happens, at least you won't be that shocked.
Keep learning new things.
At least you have a plan B. If the plan B may not work, maybe there should be a plan C or plan D. In terms of failure, what I want to mention is that life is really unpredictable. We have ups and downs in life, in our professional career. And when we fail, we have to really sit down. Don't feel too sorry for yourself. I mean, you could weep for a day or so, but after a day or a week, you better get up and try to pull yourself up. See what happened. Why did it happen? Maybe it's got to do with internal factors or external factors. At least knowing the reason why you were chosen for the hiring would be better. And the thing is, if you didn't fail, I would say you're missing on something. Then you did miss the opportunity of learning. I think it's important that we fail sometimes.
And be able to come back.
Yes, to be able to come back because it's going to test your resilience, your perseverance. One of the things is never lose up, never give up hope. You should always be proud of what you are and what you could achieve. You should take the setback as temporary. That's the best way to approach life. In closing, I want to give credit to where I think is due. For somebody who's born on an island, you know that where somebody is born has a big impact on his or her trajectory for life. What I meant is that if you're born in Africa, I think I could start you where you're going to achieve. But if you're born in Europe, you are expected to go further. So for me to be born on an island and looking back at my life journey, at my professional career, which span a few countries, I think in a way it's all due to the foresight of my parents, where they value education as an important vehicle for transformation process. So for that, I and my siblings are forever grateful to what they have done, because without that initial step which they did, I will not be here today. Probably I won't have a story to tell. Probably I'll still remain as an anonymous shopkeeper's son.
Once your parents moved to Mauritius, they never went back to
China?
Guangdong.
Okay,
At that time?
when my parents left Mauritius, the wish was that they are going to make some money, do well, have enough money, and then go back to retire in China.
Yeah.
But in life, when you leave a place, you go from A to B, you rarely go back to where you come from. So they spent, I would say in the end, a productive life in Mauritius. My mom came to live with my brother in Canada. So for her, this is her third life. Having a life in Mauritius, having an adult life in Mauritius, and then a life in Canada. So she was here for 20 plus years, and she really enjoyed every moment of it.